Welcome to Auto Marketing Now. On today's show, we have Ken Kolodziej. He's the CEO of String Automotive. Of course, we have our popular strategy session and email grab bag. So let's get started with today's show. Today's show, Ken Kolodziej. He's the CEO of String. Ken, welcome to the show.
Brian, thank you so much for having me. This is great.
You know, this is long overdue. We have so many shared clients who've been saying, Brian, the work that you're doing in educating dealers is so compatible with what String's doing. But before we jump in to your platform, which is it's really revolutionary, let's go back in history. We actually ran into each other 7 or 8 years ago because before String was called String, it was called Captive Lead.
Yep.
Tell dealers a little bit about your experience and the evolution of your company.
Yeah, sure. And yes, I remember that meeting well. So it's your memory is fantastic. So we started out as a web company, right? Website platform, SEO, SEM, inventory management, the whole sort of kit and caboodle. And to this day, we still have a number of clients on that system. And it was a great journey for us. We have a lot of good clients, et cetera. Very good learning experience. And it was foundational or evolutionary, so to speak, to who we are as a company today. And really, again, when you and I met for the first time, that was, again, when we were still in the thick of the website business and digital marketing. And a few years ago, we did see an opportunity in the space in automotive, which led to the dealer positioning system platform. Again, we'll get into that in a minute, as you said.
Yeah, and Ken, one of the things that's so beautiful about your experience and my experience is that we really came up through all aspects of the digital marketing.
Yes.
We saw inefficiencies. We built a tool now called Vista Dash, which is a consolidated dashboard of dealer data, but you took a different approach, which is really exciting, is to give dealers insights into what's working, where there are opportunities. And Ken, I'd like to know where the inspiration came from. Was it because you were doing SEO, SEM, doing websites, and you saw the inefficiencies and the blind spots? Give dealers a little bit of that kind of brainstorm that brought the DPS into being.
Yeah, no, and that's and it really was about the inefficiencies. It was about the fact that everybody's inundated with data, right? I mean, every vendor is producing reports, and those reports are great in and of themselves, but there was no way to really synthesize them together and really give a dealer, as you mentioned, that sort of proactive ability to figure out what was working, what wasn't, where to sort of point the proverbial guns, so to speak, as we've had some of our clients,
which neck to choke, as they say, right?
Exactly, absolutely. And so we said, well, geez, to your point, as you mentioned, you and I have both come up through every aspect of digital marketing. And so we said, well, let's leverage our technology platform, that expertise, our client base, and our knowledge of the industry, and create what would later become the dealer positioning system to address those inefficiencies and really give dealers that one-stop shop for the proactive marketing and advertising strategy.
And we have a great shared client, the Lithia Auto Group, and Mark Connor and his team. They use both our Vista Dash platform and they use the String DPS. When I saw the product for the first time, I was like, wow, this really is something customized that can give dealers insights into the local market. So let's peel back the onion. If you're on an elevator with a dealer principal and you had 1 minute to tell them why they needed DPS, what problem does it solve? Ken, what would you tell them?
Sure. Well, it's really a data-driven roadmap, month to month, quarter to quarter, whatever their sales goals are, to effectively give them that data-driven game plan for how to spend their money, where to focus it, who to target, what to say, using demographics, psychographics. So it's basically that. It really is that data-driven battle plan.
And that's what I love, because when I saw the specific tactical directions, meaning you have an opportunity to really target these Camry shoppers, you have an opportunity to sell more F-150 trucks in this market, so move marketing dollars here, or this isn't working effectively. What this decisioning tool is, this dealer positioning system, is, I think, what dealers have been asking for a long time. Brian, where are the sweetest opportunities for me to put money that are going to result into car sales?
Yeah, and that is a fantastic summary. I mean, that really is it in a nutshell. I mean,
Right.
you've nailed it. So.
And the great thing is that this tool could be used by any agency, any dealer, or any dealer group. It's effective at a single store, a small cluster of stores, because isn't it true that dealers have been joking with me forever? Brian, I get 5 or 10 phone calls a day. Everyone wants me to spend more money. I don't have an unlimited budget.
Right.
Ken, doesn't your tool cut through all the clutter and show them those low-hanging fruits based on the Polk IHS data, other shopper data, based on their DMS, based on the click-through rates of their ads? It brings it all together and say, do this.
That's exactly it. Yeah, exactly. We take many, many different data sets. We do all the heavy lifting. And again, you got to keep it simple, right? Dealers are busy. They're focused on selling cars, and we want to help them with that. So it's, again, we do all the heavy lifting. We've got custom algorithms that we have built into the platform, and it really is that the delivery of the look, based on where you were selling, where the opportunities are. You need to focus here, here, and here this month in order to, as you said, move those Camrys, for example. Maybe next month the data changes, might be something totally different. But again, it's the platform delivers that in a very easy to digest fashion. And to your point, we're platform agnostic. We can work with any website provider, any agency. We don't have a horse in the race. We just want the dealer to do well. So again, anybody who's acting on those insights can take the strategy and apply it, and then everybody wins.
Well, that's why I loved it, and that's why I wanted to have you on the show, because here's, and only viewers today who work in a large dealer group can appreciate this. It's very difficult for a central national marketing manager to really understand all the local idiosyncrasies of each store. In the case of Lithia, with over 130 stores, to know what's hot, what vehicles are really hot in that market, where their ad campaigns have been really effective, where they haven't, where the pump in, pump out reports, the cross-sell reports are showing opportunity. It's an impossible matrix, but what your tool allows a large dealer group, a mid-sized dealer group, or a single store to say, as you're busy doing your job, we're processing all this data so that in literally a few minutes, you could see the tactical recommendations to implement with your ad agency partners to achieve your sales goals. Isn't that what's happening?
Absolutely, and again, a fantastic summary. And we see that the best case scenarios are when we do see the dealers working, of course, with us, but also with in tight concert, so to speak, with their agency partners or their other vendors. Because that way, if everybody is, our VP of Sales, Amy Hughes, loves to use the expression, gathering around the water cooler, the DPS being that water cooler, and everybody's sort of speaking the same language, working from the same set of tactical insights or same battle plan, well then it's a huge success story for everybody. Dealers grow market share, sales increase, conversion rates increase. I mean, every KPI, whether it's digital or very, very sort of nuts and bolts from an actual sales perspective, sales growth perspective, they all increase because, again, everybody's pulling in the same direction and working from the same game plan. Now,
one of the things that has really been catching the buzz, is marketing automation. So really DPS is an automotive-specific marketing automation platform with very sophisticated algorithms, but that produce really simple, actionable steps. When I got a demo of the product recently, my next question was, Ken, how can a dealer then say, turn this on? Meaning, your recommendation could be, you have a great opportunity to sell more Camrys. Here are the couple steps. One of those steps could be create a targeted Facebook campaign based on Camry owners 20 miles around with this message.
Yes.
And I said, man, wouldn't it be great as a next step for the dealer to press the button and say, yes, I want that, and it executes. What's your roadmap for an execution engine that a dealer then can click and know that it's being
done
properly.
Yeah, well, Brian, you are Brian Pasch because you can see a few steps in the future, right? And to your point, I mean, that was an excellent, excellent sort of insight on your end when you did see the platform. So right now, we look at it as a couple different phases, right? So right now, as you mentioned, you can get the very simple insights. A lot of complicated stuff going on in the back end. That's okay, we keep it simple, right? So you have that game plan. We also give dealers or agencies the ability to buy effectively from us a targeted list of those people, names, addresses, emails, et cetera, so that they can say, great, now that we have the game plan that's hyper-targeted, we're not talking about your typical sort of spray and pray approach, this is laser focused, we will be able to provide those prospects to the dealer or the agency.
So let's stop there for a minute.
Yep.
I don't want them to miss that. So if through your modeling you say, people in this region that own a vehicle, for example, that's 2 years old would be a great conquest opportunity or a great retention. You'll actually, through your data partners, provide the dealer with that email list, for example, that they can send out if they're using MailChimp or vertical response, or give to their agency. So you've made that one first step,
correct,
which is like a manual step, right?
Yes.
To give them the targeted list to market to.
That's absolutely correct.
Okay.
Yep, that's exactly it. And then they can pass that on again if they're doing it internally. Great, to their internal marketing team, or their the person that's responsible for that, or pass it on to their agency, and then the agency does the creative, and everybody goes home happy. Roadmap-wise, sort of our phase 2 approach really is to have that not just a one-stop shop from a strategic perspective, but really have that, as you mentioned, execution engine.
So an API directly to an email delivery company.
Yes, correct.
An API directly into Facebook's advertising engine.
Absolutely. Yep. And so again, it's not that we're not, to be clear, we're not trying to function as the agency. We don't want to be an agency. We're a technology provider. We're a marketing automation provider, as you mentioned. But being able to sit as that sort of central node, almost as an ad exchange, to use sort of ad tech terminology.
Yes.
Again, that Switzerland approach, right, where we're supplying the data, the insights, the analytics,
the infrastructure.
Exactly. And then, as you mentioned, we tie into other APIs, other third-party services, and they act on
this
it.
sounds like that String could be the ultimate agency tool, meaning that and there's hundreds, maybe even thousands of agencies that are doing some traditional, because your tool recommends traditional advertising spend.
Yeah.
So do you foresee that String's DPS could be the gold standard for all auto agencies, tier 2 agencies? Instead of them reinventing the wheel, they could just license your platform and use their Facebook accounts, use their AdWords accounts, use their radio, buyer or media buyer.
Yep.
It just places all the orders for them.
Yep. I mean, that's, again, right on the nose. I mean, that's exactly, nothing would please me more if we could become that gold standard.
Right.
And that really is the direction that we set out for ourselves. So absolutely.
But we don't have to talk about futures. What we know, and someone like Mark Connor is someone I respect, he said, Brian, I love Vista Dash because it really makes it easy for us to review the final KPIs, the end results of our marketing, but I need to provide tactical guidance for our agency partners across 130 stores. No other tool does this, but it's really a one-of-a-kind product that I think every dealer principal have been asking, Brian, how do I know that my marketing agency's strategies are correct? How do I know that my marketing dollars have a strong ROI? So when somebody wants to engage with your company on the DPS, what type of commitment are they making? Is it a month-to-month? Is there a minimum number of months to get the data engine going? What would that look like to a dealer?
Yeah, so commitment-wise, again, we try to keep everything simple. So it is a month-to-month commitment.
Great.
So, we obviously want people to stick with us for life, of course.
Sure.
We always want, but, situations change, we get that. So it's month-to-month, no long-term contracts. In terms of data onboarding, we have a whole team that does that. So again, no heavy lifting on the dealer's part. We just need a couple of authorizations, and then we get the data feeds.
Access to their DMS, access to their inventory and other things, so that
Google Analytics, that's call tracking, chat, that sort of stuff. And again, we handle all the heavy lifting. All the dealer has to do is say approve, and the rest is all done by us. So it happens very quickly.
So month to month, and would you say then that the best use of this tool would be a third-party collaboration between the dealer and their agency and the String DPS. We create a triangle of success where the dealer's sales goals and visions are laid out. Your marketing technology identifies the easiest ways to reach those goals, and the agency goes ahead and executes.
Yes, that's exactly it. Yeah, and I love the triangle of success.
Yeah, it's just
analogy,
because what's happening now is that dealers don't know if the agency's really doing what they want. And let me explain. There are a lot of good agencies across the country, but dealers are afraid, is my agency staying up with all the latest technology? Right. Facebook has just changed, new ways to target. Google just changed their review policy. They have some new automotive ads. There's a lot of moving pieces.
Right.
For dealers who are looking for more justification to invest in the String DPS, isn't it also that platform is going to be staying up to date with all the latest marketing opportunities? So even if the agency falls behind, it could be recommending something that the agency didn't even know about?
Yes, absolutely. And the agency partners that we have are very, I would say, forward-thinking. They're very, up on the latest and greatest,
right.
across the board. But absolutely, you can only keep tabs on so much. And
right.
So yes, the platform is always current, always up to date. We even hired our COO, Jessie Chassett. I brought her in, for tactical reasons last summer, but also for strategic reasons. She comes from ad tech, and so again, we're trying to bring that expertise,
the best from outside of automotive
precisely,
into automotive.
Precisely, and there's a lot of evolution that remains to be done inside automotive in the
right.
digital marketing space, and so we want to be at the forefront of that. So
this technology was so impressive because the user interface was so simple to use. Couldn't this platform eventually be used outside of automotive?
There's no reason why it couldn't. Obviously, right now we are String Automotive. We're focused wholly on automotive, but yeah, there's no reason why the framework or the foundation of the product couldn't be engineered to work outside of automotive. Absolutely.
Well, I haven't had the ability to interview many MarTech companies outside of automotive. I've been making some introductions recently because it's exciting how we're finally getting into a way to make our marketing dollars more efficient. But the insights that the String DPS provides dealers, to me, is an answer to their prayers. Brian, give me an authoritative, third-party, unemotional report on what's going on in my market, which dealers are selling which cars, where's my pump in, pump out, what ads are working, what are not, what's creating the best conversion and engagement, what's my best cost per sale, and mash that all together and serve up
right.
like a blueprint for success.
Right. Yeah, no, again, right on the nose. That's it, and there's no reason we couldn't do that outside.
Great. So for dealers watching today's show,
yes.
How do they get a demo? Where do they go to see the DPS in action?
Yeah, so the best resource is going to getstring.com.
Okay.
That'll redirect to our primary site. Tons of resources. You can contact a sales department. You can just poke around. Whatever stage you're at.
Right.
we can accommodate that on the website. And of course, we're always available to answer any questions that dealers have, set up demos, et cetera, et cetera.
Great. And one last thing: when a dealer signs up for String, let's just say the onboarding process takes a few weeks to get all the logins and accounts.
Yeah.
How long does it take for the engine to start providing actionable suggestions to help them reach their marketing goals?
Yeah, so and that's an excellent question actually, because dealers, right? When we get excited about something, we sign up for something. It's
I'm going to change my sales results next month.
Right, exactly. It's now, or it's yesterday actually.
And then it takes 4 weeks to get their Google Analytics login. Something crazy like that.
Right. So so depending on the data sets that we have, let's put it this way: when we have everything, then instantly, right after that, we crunch the numbers and it's right away you're off to the races. But even if we just have, say, part of it, Google Analytics, sales data, we don't need every single wire connected.
Yep.
You can still start getting insights out of the platform. So you don't need necessarily to wait. We don't consider a dealer live until every last
piece is in place. And
exactly.
and there's good reasons for that.
Right. But that's not to say that you couldn't start to glean insights from the platform even without everything in there. So.
Well, Ken, I'm so glad you came on the show. When I posted your name on Facebook yesterday, people mentioned Superstar. And,
oh, wow.
and I love that because People know you're passionate about helping dealers. You have a really wonderful and powerful tool that Switzerland can work with any website platform, any agency partner.
Yeah.
And this is exactly the type of tools that dealers have been looking for. Ken, I'd love for you to come back on the show when some of the execution and APIs are in place and share some of those results.
Oh, anytime, Brian. This was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. It's
Thank
been
you
a long
for being
time
on
coming.
the show.
So.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
And now for today's strategy session. Since we're talking about marketing automation, it would be remiss of me not to talk about one of the exciting new tools that dealers may leverage in the future, which is beacon technology. You may have heard about this, small devices that a retailer can place near the entrance to their shop. And if they have an app and if the customer has opted in for messages, as the customer gets near that beacon, a special customized offer could be presented. It's pretty exciting, and I think the future of customized retail shopping will include beacon technology, but most dealers don't have an app that their customers or prospects are using. So how can they leverage beacon technology? Well, Yext, the directory listing company, has partnered with software developers who control thousands of apps that are on, well, consumer phones, to place their beacon technology on the app, which means when a dealer signs up for the Yext beacon, they can put that beacon by the entry door of the dealership. And when consumers who have one of the apps using Yext technology walk into the showroom, those people's phones can be tracked and then later used in retargeting lists and marketing lists like on Facebook. Think about that. Imagine hundreds of people, or in some large groups, thousands of people a month from sales and service are coming into the dealership. And wouldn't it be nice after they left to be able to market to them on Facebook? Over time, I think Yext will expand their offering with multiple beacons. Right now, it's a single beacon per location. But ideally, I'd like to see a beacon by the service drive, a beacon by the sales desk, maybe a beacon by the finance desk, so I could see how consumers are engaging in the dealership. If you have a separate building for used cars, put a beacon over there. Why? It would allow you over time to market to consumers who've visited your lot. Meaning, we know that not all people who visit your lot are marked in the CRM. Wouldn't it be great if you had some new technology to maximize your multi-million-dollar investment and all the people who come to your location? Over the coming years, we're going to see beacon technology rolled out in new ways, so keep an eye out for it. And if you need some more information, you can just follow this link below to learn more about the Yext Beacon program. And that's today's strategy session. And now for today's email grab bag question. A marketing manager wrote in to ask, Brian, I've been following your shows and you've been talking about Facebook advertising and banner advertising, and it seems like paid advertising is the theme. Is SEO dead? Well, it's a great question to ask. I started my career in the automotive industry offering SEO services to dealers, and the answer is simply SEO is not dead. Google still rewards great content on a dealership's website and presents that content in search results without a cost. Of course, it costs money to create great content, but it also produces an annuity of results that are not tied to paid budgets. The key here is that your content needs to be shareable. The days of creating content pages that were horrible to read but optimize on a keyword are over. I want you to think of your SEO strategy really more as a shareable content strategy, meaning once you create a page that's compliant with Google's best practices, great page titles, great URL, great text and linking, I want that content to be shareable, meaning that you're proud enough to share that content on your LinkedIn page or on Facebook or Twitter, meaning you're saying, hey, consumers, this is great content. If you look at SEO in that way, then you will be driving more and more consumers to your website to help them make the decisions that are important to them when, well, choosing a car or a vehicle class or a dealership. Remember, if the content is engaging, if it's helpful, and it's optimized, why wouldn't you want your website to be a destination for consumers that you can send through social media, paid search, or through organic results? SEO isn't dead, it's just the content strategies that you need to use today need to be shareable and not hidden in some black hat strategy. I hope that answers your question, and if you have a question you'd like to submit to the show, and if I use it, I'll send you a free copy of my latest book, 2016, Mastering Automotive Digital Marketing, the only textbook in the automotive industry, and it's being used at Northwood University to train the next generation of automotive professionals. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for watching the show, and I'll see you next week on Auto Marketing